The program is available to people out in Syracuse and to people out in Buffalo. And if somebody lives out in Buffalo, the Western New York Independent Living provides fiscal intermediary services for consumer-directed personal assistance. In Syracuse, I'm aware of an agency called Enable that also provides fiscal intermediary services. So those are if people are in those geographical areas, those are the agencies that they will more likely use.
Well, people watching Elizabeth Morton today that are saying, wow, I didn't know this program existed. What is the next step? How do they get in contact with you guys?
Well, they can give us a call. They can go to our website and ask questions. We can't take referrals off the street. They do have to go through either their local Department of Social Services or their Medicaid managed care plan for an assessment and to be approved and authorized. But they can feel free to call us up and ask questions.
Well, you would be able to send people that are looking for employment or people that need assistance in the right direction, right?
Yes. Yes,
and what would social services do for the folks?
Social services can first determine if they are eligible for Medicaid, because a person needs to be first established that they have Medicaid or are eligible for Medicaid. Social services may also be the one that ends up doing their assessments to determine if they're eligible for consumer-directed personal assistance. So that's what they can do.
Okay, the folks that are seeking employment and would want to go to work and get employment through you guys, what are the steps that they should take?
They can go onto our website and they can look under an employment webpage, and they will get access to our RACE, our Recruitment Assistance Intermediary System, and they can create a profile and look for a job that way.
Now, your agency has a great story. You were founded in 1997 by a lady who was a guest on this program, the late Constance Laymon, and she's an incredible story for people that occasionally when we all do this, throw pity parties for ourselves.
Yes.
Would you talk about that a little bit?
Constance Laymon was an incredible force throughout the state. In fact, actually the development of this program throughout the state, she had a big hand in making sure that it developed and it grew. When she was, I think it was 17, she was in high school, she fell off a cliff and had a spinal cord injury, and had quadriplegia from that. And but she did not. She was determined to make the most of her life and to make sure everybody had a chance to live independently. And so she became a huge disability rights advocate. And then she created this program and this agency, Consumer Directed Choices, along with a couple other people with disabilities as well. And she was the first CEO. She was the founding CEO for the first 10 years of its life until she passed away suddenly in September 2012. So she was, again, a major force throughout the state even regarding the development of this program.
You mentioned disability rights, and you normally don't hear that term, and because you don't hear the term, you don't think about it. What are some of the rights that the disabled are looking for, both federally and statewide, and even in local municipalities?
A big thing is being able to just have access to the community, to be able to live in their homes, to be able to live in their communities, to be able to live and control their lives just like everyone else can. That's an essential part of what they're looking for, is a basic civil right.
And what are some of those rights that are not necessarily available right now that she would, or you folks would, go to the legislature over the years or to your local congressman and lobby for?
Well, for example, with Community First Choice, one of the things to really get it implemented, there needs to be an amendment to the Nurse Practice Act to allow advanced home health aides to be able to perform certain tasks that right now only nurses perform. And the issue with access into the community is that if somebody needs nursing tasks and can't get them in the community, it could lead to them being in a nursing home. And they don't want to be there. And it's simply because they can't have some of those tasks performed. out in the community. So it's about allowing an amendment to the Nurse Practice Act so that they can have better access out into the community, to live out in the community in their homes.
Well, listening to the radio and watching television, it seems that the nurses of New York State are howling about that, and they don't want that legislative change.
Well, right now, from what I understand, they've worked with disability rights advocates, and there is language that they have agreed on. And now, I believe that in fact, right at this moment, I think that there is discussion at the Assembly and Senate. So we're hopeful that it will go through. What
are some of the other rights that the disabled would need that are not being addressed at this moment, either federally or statewide?
Well, access to jobs, access to, again, big time access to the communities, being given control and choice over their lives is the big stuff.
I would have assumed, but not in that category, that employment thing was taken care of years ago, and that sort of discrimination is not allowed.
Well, it's not discrimination. It's just that, not necessarily discrimination in the sense that, because a person has a disability, although that does still happen. But it's about trying to, some people might not be able to work full time because they'll lose their health, their long-term care insurance, things of that nature. It will be more difficult for them to access that. So it's that kind of stuff, being able to access the jobs and having reasonable accommodations for them to be able to perform those functions.
So it's almost a catch-22. If someone who is disabled gets well enough to be a contributing member of the workforce, they're sort of discouraged from doing that because their economic situation would change.
Yep.
We only got about a minute left. One more time, Elizabeth Morton, just tell us about your organization for folks who just tuned in and how they can get in touch with you.
Well, we are a nonprofit located in Albany, and we were founded in 1997, became operational in December of 2001. We provide what's called fiscal intermediary services for consumer-directed personal assistance to people in the greater capital region area. And what that means is that people who need